Hey everybody, Mark here with mywhistleandflute.com. It's a warm Sunday afternoon here in Maine, and I thought I'd take a little while sitting here in my office and throw up a video, what I hope will be a short series of videos on learning the open-keyed flute. I'm going to start from the very beginning and work on. So if you're already a very advanced player, this video may not be for you, and yet stick around because we can all do with a refresher and maybe pick up some things. I think we can learn something from everyone, so this is an opportunity for you to do that. I'm not going to edit these videos, so I'm just going to record them and throw them up. It's just going to be kind of conversational, as if you and I were having a flute lesson. I'm going to talk a little bit, I'll probably stumble around a little bit, ahs and and all that kind of stuff, but hopefully it'll still help you. I've even got a cup of coffee, just like I would if you were here. I'd offer you a cup of coffee if you were here, if you're a coffee drinker. If you're not a coffee drinker, then I'll just pray for you. But anyway, so I've got some of my flutes here. Now these are not all my flutes. In fact, these two flutes here on the end were made by one of my favorite flute makers, Eric Sampson, over at erictheflutemaker.com. This is his amazing Vivaldi minor. It is a harmonic minor flute. And then I have his Brazilian major, which is tuned in the key of G. This is concert tuned in the key of G. So these were some of the first flutes that I purchased when I got into open-keyed flutes. In fact, I think the Vivaldi flute was the very first one that I purchased, and then I went to the Brazilian in G so that I could play along with some other music. Now, as you know, I make and sell my own PVC open-keyed flutes. You can find them at our website, mywhistleandflute.com, or at our store at mywhistleandflute.etsy.com, or go to Facebook. Please, please, please go to Facebook. Facebook.com/mywhistleandflute, and like the page, and I'm constantly throwing up things there as well. I'm constantly throwing up. I actually don't throw up that often, but I'm constantly putting up content there on our My Whistle and Flute page, and it would be helpful if there was more than just my friends and family on that page, because friends and family, they never spend a dime. So, okay, so let me just talk to you a little bit about the flutes. Here I've got one of the flutes I just recently finished. Probably the most popular flute that I make is a low D flute, and I've been working on a wood grain finish with these flutes. Let me turn this light on here so maybe you can see it. Ah, there we go. And this is a technique that I've been working on perfecting. It is not yet perfect, so I'm not offering these for sale in any kind of a mass way. However, if you were interested in this, then go to My Whistle and Flute and send me a message, and I'll work out making a custom one for you. But this is in the walnut color, and it's got a beautiful grain. This is just a piece of Schedule 40 PVC. You can see the white PVC right down there in the center. But I love the look of this. This is kind of a show flute. This isn't one you'd want to go take banging around out in the woods, because the finish will get marred on it. So let's start with this one, and then I'll probably pick up some of the other ones to show you that the principles are the same. Let's start with the very first thing, okay? The very first thing when you're learning to play an open-keyed flute, or any flute, is to get a good sound. Now, I just recently spoke with somebody on Facebook that said that one of their relatives was struggling with getting a sound. They were a reed instrument player, but they were struggling getting a sound on their open-keyed flute. There is a difference. I have here made by it is a made by Maui Zaffoon, a Zaffoon. This is with a saxophone reed, a little. He makes these out of bamboo, or also this plastic, which is what I got. And to play a reed instrument, you roll your lip over your bottom teeth, and the reed has to vibrate. And that's what you're going for. Now, there's a lot more air pressure in playing a reeded instrument as opposed to playing an open-keyed flute. In fact, if you play a clarinet or a saxophone or something like that, and you jump right back from that practice session onto this, you're going to overblow me in that second octave, because this is really designed. Think about blowing from an open throat, okay? So that the air is coming from a relaxed grin, but you're not cheeks puckered out, blowing, or even trying to whistle. But the breath pressure comes up from your diaphragm through an open throat, and then through the embouchure. Now, when you look at your embouchure hole, you're going to notice that the far side of the embouchure hole, the side farthest away from you, is cut on an angle. This is so that the air going across that hole can split and go down, and then it winds itself around the flute. So to get a good sound, before you even worry about these other 6 holes down here, to get a good sound, you start by holding the flute and in front of a mirror, place it up to your lips. Now, you're not whistling. You are blowing. Like, imagine, I don't know if you had I just got a haircut today, or I got all my hairs cut today. You have that hair on the tip of your tongue, and you're trying to spit it off. That's the look that you're going for when you're playing the flute. But your bottom lip needs to remain soft. If your bottom lip, unlike with the saxophone, if your bottom lip gets all tight, it's going to negatively impact your ability to make a good sound. So your bottom lip is nice and soft, and for me, it rests just on the edge of where the hole is here, and I blow across. Now, you're going to blow across, and it's going to sound like this. And you're not going to get anything. And you're going to want to take your chuck and throw it. You're going to want to take your flute and chuck it across the room. Don't do that. Hold it up to your lips. Okay, make sure in front of a mirror that the hole is centered in front of your lip. Relaxed grin. Remember, spit that hair off the tip of your tongue, and then roll the flute back and forth until you get a good clear sound. And at the point where the note is the clearest, that's where you want to hold it. You really are blowing across the sound hole as opposed to down into it. Now, we're going to get into some techniques which involve blowing down into it more in a later video. But for now, it's just blowing across. Keep doing that. Practice it in front of a mirror. Okay, so that's not very exciting, but that's important. Then I want you to hold the flute and practice bringing it up to your lip as well. Because you need to be able to do that without staring at it and, every time moving it all around. Even as much as I've played, there are still some times that I don't find it right away. But primarily, or most of the time, it comes right away. It's muscle memory and getting your mouth used to the flute. Also, if you're not like me and you have a whole bunch of flutes, one of my favorite mottos is why have one when 20 will do. And I love my repeat customers, by the way, at mywhistleandflute.com, so keep coming back. But if you only have one, the more you play that one, the more comfortable you're going to get with finding that tone. So find that tone and practice bringing it back to your lip the same place every time. Avoid puckering. Puckering will give you an airy sound, which, unless that's what you're wanting, isn't really what you want. Not only will puckering give you an airy sound, but it'll make you a little bit lightheaded, which you also may enjoy. But it's not good for you when you're playing the flute, because you can fall down and break your flute and maybe your neck at the same time. So that relaxed grin, in fact, just sit in front of the mirror and then keep your tongue in your mouth and just practice blowing. But the tongue in the back of your, behind your teeth and lips is going to be an important part when you get into playing. Okay, so when you get into playing, that sound is going to be really, really important. That's all for today. That's all I want you to do. I just want you to do it. Now, one of the great things about open-keyed flutes is it doesn't matter what key you're playing in or even how large the flute is. For example, here is our harmonic minor flute. This is our Renaissance flute. It's a harmonic minor flute, and you can see the difference in size. This also has the wood grain. These are my personal flutes that I'm experimenting with this finish. You can find this flute in black on our site. But anyway, it's a much smaller flute, but the concept is the same. Okay, so it's the same thing. Okay, same thing there. Now, here is a flute which is slightly longer than the Renaissance flute, but still much shorter than the low D, and it has a thumb hole in the back. Doesn't matter, because all that matters is this embouchure right here in the front. Okay, so you say, well, if I don't have a low D flute, or I don't have a minor flute, I've got another kind of open-keyed flute, and it's a different key. It doesn't matter. The principle of getting a sound is the same no matter what flute you play. I hope that helps. Next time we're going to talk about learning to get our fingers up and down up and down the scale, and playing through the first octave and maybe working into the second one. But for until the next video, I want you just to practice getting that sound. If you get frustrated, put the flute down and walk away. You should play when you're relaxed. You should play when the flute calls to you. So it's supposed to be fun. I hope it's fun for you. I'll see you around next time on mywhistlinflute.com, right here on our YouTube station. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. And check us out, mywhistlinflute.com. Talk to you later.